At this point, overthinking is just something you do. Something that happens, you can't stop it, you don't know where it's coming from anymore, but you feel this strong internal force. It compels you to think about a million different things, about every step, every decision, every outcome. And it could be frustrating, it could be exhausting, which is why today I actually want to shed some light on that and help dig to the base of why this happens. And possibly make today the day that you can start to make a change, even if it's a millimeter in the right direction. Or even if it's just making peace with your current situation. Whatever it is, my objective here is to help you heal. Help you heal, help you progress, help you be as close to authentic as possible. Now, what are the reasons, we can get right into right away, what are the reasons that we overthink? Like if you were to ask yourself, you're standing there, you go, well, why do I need to know every possible outcome? If I make a call about purchasing this car or moving to a different city, or even something as small as picking a what movie to watch, or should I hang out with my friends? Should I not hang out with my friends? Should I start going to the gym? Should I get a membership? Should I not? And you want to ask yourself, okay, well, why do I need to think so deeply about these things? Why? Here are the most common ones that come up. These are some of the ones common for me and the clients that I work with who struggle with the same exact thing. First thing is the fear of judgment. Afraid that if we make the wrong decision, people are going to look at us and criticize. They're going to think we're dumb. They're going to think we don't know what we're doing. We're incapable. We're not competent. And we get stuck. And over time, as you overthink too much, you start to even forget that that's the reason. You just start to do it. It starts to become autopilot. Next one is the fear of rejection. If I make the wrong decision, are my peers going to accept me? It may sound irrational, even if in small cases you think, well, why would my friends reject me by just not going to the gym or picking the wrong movie to watch? But there's no rationale in this. Oftentimes the complex, the emotional knot that sits in our unconscious can get so powerful, and if we don't acknowledge it, if we're not able to see how it functions, it will still function unaware to you. And so it'll manifest its desire on even the most small things. And so whether big or small, it acts the same. The fear that we'll be the outcast. We will not be included into anything. The fear that you're not good enough. You make the wrong decision, well, not good enough. I wasn't worthy of it. I have no skill. I'm not able to make the right choices. My instincts are off, and then we just start going into a snowball effect. And this one, the last one, is the most common. If I make the wrong decision, or rather, if I make the right decision, the perfect decision, then now I am worthy of self-love. Or I'm worthy of love from other people. Typically, it's the inner dialogue that will kick in and make you start to run into a million ways, or rather, I should say, it makes you run into 1,000 thoughts of self-criticism, self-judgment. How could you get this wrong? You should know better. Unbelievable. How many times do you have to make the same mistake? And it's until you make the right call that you feel the voice can quiet down and slow down for just a moment before it has to come back up again for the next inevitable decision you have to make. It can also be the same thing in regards to other people. Maybe by making the right decision, oh, finally somebody is going to pat me on the back and say, I'm doing a good job. You're doing great. Keep up the good work. I'm very proud of you. And the thing is, we may not even know that's what we're wanting. Memories that become painful enough can become regressed. We don't know. We're not conscious of them anymore. And so when we're not conscious, they still manifest and they still want to express themselves into the world. And so we act it out without even knowing that we're acting it out. Which then takes me to the the deeper level. The deeper level is, what is the narrative controlling you? Now, I'm a very narrative-based individual. It's not the end-all be-all of solutions, and it won't solve everything, but it does solve a lot. At the base of our psyche, we are dictated by narratives. We are guided by stories, self-imposed or handed off to us by other people, by typically parents, siblings, not usually siblings as often I've noticed, more so a mother-father dynamic. They get inherited, and then we just carry that with us for a long time. And the more unaware we become, the more it controls and dictates everything we do, everything we think about and we act, and it has its own way of manifesting to yourself. To each person, it's different, it's unique. But when we start to dig down, like if we pick one that says, okay, well, if I make the right decision, then I'll be worthy of self-love. Okay, well, what's the narrative? What's the story behind it? Perhaps when you were younger and you had completed some project at school, or you were in a team, a sporting team, soccer, hockey, basketball, whatever it is, and you notice that the only time that you were ever really acknowledged and communicated with and spoken to and given companionship and given presence beyond just the accomplishments you have. You were only given all those things when you did really well, when you performed well, when you got an A+, and you were showered with admiration. And outside of that, you were not. And so as a young child, let's say 10 years old, 11, 12, 13, could be younger as well, your brain goes, well, then in order for me to be worthy, I need to accomplish things. I need to win and make the right decision. I need to be perfect. Then I'll win the admiration of my family. And then I'll win the admiration of my friends. And so, but as the years go on, that story, we're not, again, like I said, we're not always aware of them. But as years go on, you can be 20, 30, 40, 50 years old and still dictated by that narrative that says I'm only worthy if I make the right decision. How you manifest that story is different. So in this case, we need to think relentlessly of every possible outcome. Think of all the ways things can go wrong. And then unfortunately, it's a loop. You overthink everything, which then makes you become indecisive, which then makes you delay the decision. And then in that delay, you start to feel embarrassment. You start to feel shame that you should be able to make a decision here. Why is it taking so long? You start to feel bad for yourself. And then you finally make a call. You make that call. You start second guessing everything again. And you're wondering, why the hell? Oh no, maybe I made the wrong choice. God forbid it was the wrong choice, because then that just ruins your day, to put it lightly. And even if you made the right decision, you feel a sense of, oh, okay. Oh my gosh, just dodged the bullet there. But then now you're anticipating the next one. And the next one. And the next one. Forever perpetuating the story. And remember this. The story from that gives you values. Your values are sprung up from the narrative. That it is through detachment of emotion, which allows me to make the decision. I have to separate from my emotions, forget how I'm feeling. It's all about making the right choice. Think about what other people are thinking. Care about what other people think. What other people say matters. Or another value. You are only loved as much as you can provide, as much as you can produce. And as you start to produce these values shape your identity. And when it shapes your identity, this becomes your destiny. Everything you see, everything you do will be through that lens. And it's until you shed light on it, until you dig into it. Unless you do it, it will control you. Now, of course, when we dig down into that story and we can really make peace with that story, we have to integrate the story. Meaning that once you are made aware of it, you are not to reject it. You are not to deny it. You're not to disown it. You're not to hate it, feel disgust towards it. I shouldn't say you shouldn't feel those things. Those feelings will come up. One of those feelings. But at the end of the day, it is still a version of you. It is the inner child you. I want you to imagine that child, the 10-year-old, the 11-year-old, boy or girl who's just looking to get some love and getting some comfort and to be held and to be told that they're doing great. And, you are perfect. Your soul is perfect, but of course you can improve. You can be better, and that's wonderful. You're both perfect and a work in progress simultaneously. And that person, you can be that person for that child now. That story that controlled you for so many years, it had its use. It helped you survive. It protected your soul from further damage. But where you are now, you don't need that story anymore. You can let that story go. But you let it go by first embracing it, being aware of it, communicating with it, literally saying internally with your inner voice, I thank you for what you've done, and I appreciate the work. But we don't need to do this anymore. We can just let this story go and preserve that spirit, preserve the soul, just let go of the narrative and rewrite the new narrative. If you give yourself that self-love, you give yourself that compassion, you will feel the need. If your story was, I must do this to win validation, if you give it to yourself, you give it to yourself long enough, the rest of that will wash away. It'll slowly leave you. And of course, you combine that with present practice, breath work, and I have whole topics on loop patterns and how to prevent your mind from overthinking too critically in the moment, how to manage the emotion when it comes up. But I wanted to focus on the narrative because that's what I believe. It's at the base and it controls you. It's the narrative, the story you repeat unconsciously. You're not consciously doing it. The analogy on last note, final thing before we end off. I think of it like this. You're on a stage. You are the main character of your own play. Everybody is. And you're performing, you're doing your thing, and you have an earpiece. That earpiece is connected to voices behind the curtain. Behind the curtain exist your complexes, the emotional knots, the stories, the memories, the pains, the traumas. And these voices will speak to you and they'll say, that audience in the corner will laugh at you if you do this. Or it'll also project, it'll say, well, look at this corner. Look how ugly these people are acting. Oof, let's not hang around them. We are rejecting a part of ourselves by then projecting it onto somebody else. It will dictate and it will control, but it is a form of protection. It's a warped version of protection, but that's what it's aiming to do. And so your objective is to stop the play. Walk behind the curtain. Get to know who these voices are. What is the story? And when you can understand them more, they will ease their grip. And when they come up, you will have much better knowledge and awareness to not give in to it. And to have more control of yourself. They won't go away, but they won't control you. By the way, if you if this resonated with you and you feel connected to it, and you're also, by the way, a returning viewer, thank you again for watching this. But if you're new, welcome, and go ahead and click that subscribe, like, share, comment below. It'll really help lift the channel from its early stages and let the algorithm know who it is that watches the content and resonates with it and connects with it. Of course, only if those apply to you. And if you want to watch more, click here or here. Thank you very much, and I will see you on the next video.